My name's Brett, and I'm a collector here in Oklahoma City, and welcome to my arcade collection. I started collecting arcades about 5 years ago. My first one was The Simpsons. Had to have it. It was a much-loved arcade as a kid, so I picked that up, and you know, as things go, you get one, and one's never enough. So it's grown, as you can see here, and encompasses pinball machines and a lot of the classics. Okay, so this is the Simpsons Pinball Party. This is my favorite pinball machine that has ever been created. Not to say that there won't be something to dethrone it in the future, but it's known as one of the most complex machines that's ever been brought together. The rule set is very difficult. It gives a lot of playability. There's a lot of things going on. All the little items on the playfield in the industry, we call them toys. So this one has a lot of playfield toys. Versus Star Wars over here. It's a simpler machine, but it has a lot of flow to it. Basically, one of the main shots is up a ramp, right back down to the flipper, and repeat shots all over the playfield. It does have a Death Star back here, and R2-D2, but I've gone through and added Yoda, the TIE Fighter, and I believe that's it. LED lights throughout, and I met the designer, and he signed my machine here. And it wouldn't be much of a collection if you didn't have Miss Pac-Man. I acquired mine from a lady in Bedford, Texas. She had a bit of a family emergency, and it worked out in my favor. It was in her family for almost 20 years, and as you can see, they took care of it very well. I intend to own this the rest of my life, and take care of it just as well. The pink's real strong on mine, which is something that you don't see all that often. There's some fade on the front, but that happens, and I think that's part of the character of the machines. Okay, another classic is obviously Donkey Kong. As you can see, mine's been modified just a little bit. This is a marquee from the Kong Off 2, which was held in Denver last year, which I actually played in with Billy Mitchell, Steve Wiebe, Hank Chen, all the greats. Obviously embarrassed myself against them, but it was nice to have friendly competition. This is a 1981 original machine. Nothing's been modified on it except for obviously the marquee, and I have the original. Everything else is 32 years old at this point, and it's a cornerstone to a good arcade collection. I think it brings a lot of variety to an arcade collection, in that it has 4 different games on it basically, which that was sort of a groundbreaking thing for arcade games back then, versus a Miss Pac-Man or a Pac-Man, which was just mazes. So here we have Atari Millipede. Now this machine is also an early 80s classic. And you'll see some things flashing on the screen here, and I'll tell you a little bit of story about it. This machine I got for $40, and I saved from going to a landfill. The machine was well destroyed when I got it, and basically I made it my goal to come in. I replaced the marquee here, rebuilt that panel, rebuilt the trackball, rewired it, and in the course of that I installed an LCD. What an LCD does is it's never going to burn out on you. So, whereas a monitor will eventually go out, you know, you see TVs and monitors go out. This is something that it will last the life of the machine, and that was kind of the project here. It's also got like 10 different games on it. Availability for 60, but I've removed everything that you can't play with a trackball. So we go in here, and that's Millipede. Alright, so here we've got the arcade classic, The Simpsons. Who doesn't love a 4-player side-scroller beat-em-up? In there right now, I've got TMNT, which is easily swappable. But I do have the Simpsons game, TMNT, and Sunset Riders, and it makes for a nice kind of all-in-one cabinet where you can have 3 different games, you know, without taking up the extra floor space. You just swap out the boards. That's something that the arcade industry started doing after the early era games, because they wanted more operability for the operators, the owners. They wanted something that they could plug and play and, you know, not have to switch out the cabinet every time or buy a new cabinet, and that's the JAMA harness gave them that availability. So this machine is built on that, and you can swap out the games, which makes it really convenient. So one of the pride and joys of my collection is my World of Nintendo display case. This was a retail case from late 80s, early 90s. On top you can see here that I have the original fiber optic light that would have been from the same era. And then within the case, rather than display you know, retail games, because I don't have the availability to have those anymore, we're about 25 years late, I've just put a lot of my Nintendo collectibles. So as you can see, I've got an all Nintendo Mega Man display. Come down here, I've got some Super NES and Game Boy era stuff. And then down below, I've got some retail displays with original box games and just some other Nintendo goodies. Up here on this shelf, as you can see, I've got an NES top loader, which is kind of known as the runt of the NES crop. It's got bad video, but it displays well. It's Nintendo Power number 1, and the very last Nintendo Power, number 285, sort of bookended a great era for Nintendo. Okay, so on the top shelf here, which is just a conglomeration of Donkey Kong and Mario collectibles. And there's some other things thrown as well. But a lot of people don't know about the Nintendo comic system, which the 2 books back there, those were they were made by Valiant, and I think they had a run of between 10 and 15 different comics, and I've got a few that I display as appropriate for my collection here. So this was the Club Nintendo prize from 2010. It's all the Nintendo characters together on a disc, and then you can see to the right there I've got a Super Mario World Game Watch, which, trust me, it's no translation of the original. Stick with the Super NES model. Bob-omb's hanging out there to make sure everyone's minding their P's and Q's. And I've got some not for resale demo cards there as well on display. Alright guys, well thanks for coming to check out my collection. I hope you enjoyed the arcade room and seeing some of my favorite games. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye bye.